What's up, BlendBlock? So today we're going to be having a full-on beginner tutorial on how to use Blender, from downloading it to making your own project. So let's get started. So I'm right now on the Blender website where you can download Blender. You'll want to click the Blender button here. It says download Blender 5.0, and then once you click that button, you'll end up here. You want to download Blender. The website should already know what running system you're on. Like I'm running on Windows, but if it's wrong, you can still change it here to Mac, Linux, and other versions and stuff. And then once you click it, Blender will automatically install itself, so you don't need to click any more buttons. And if you want to, you can donate, but you don't have to. And then once you've donated it, it's gonna be in your file explorer or internet browser, whatever you have, and you'll need to find it. Then once you've downloaded it, you'll need to run it and go to the setup wizard. So now that you have Blender, this is not a fresh one. This is my normal one, so that's why I have all my recent files. But you should have nothing here. And then unless you did Blender 4.0 and etc., then you want to open General. So I recommend having a mouse and keyboard, because that's what I have in this tutorial. So because it's much easier. But if you have a keyboard and trackpad, keyboard might be okay for some, but you won't get full features. I don't know. But if you have a trackpad, this tutorial wouldn't work for you, because one of the most basic functions of all is moving your camera. To do this on your mouse, your scroller. Well, you can click it, and then when you move your mouse, your camera moves. And so try to move your camera, and it's not right click like some, or left click. It's a mouse, but it's called the third button, I think. You click your scroller and it'll move it. Now if you want to move like this, then you need to click shift and scroller, and it'll move like this. And one thing good about it is so that if you're not clicking anything, you're like this. If you're holding your camera and shift, it'll keep appearing up like that. So pretty good feature, I'll say. And now we're gonna go to some of the, and then we're gonna go to some. Then we're gonna explore the layouts here. So we have our collection. We have all our blocks. This is what default, what you start with: a cube, a light, and the camera. Now scene collection will be there too, but it's not a physical object, it's more like a group. Now if you want to add something, the long way is go to add here, click add, then we have all this stuff. But for now, we're gonna go to mesh and add a circle. Now we have a circle, but you can't see it because it's inside of this cube. Now we're gonna learn the basic moving tools. We have arrow keys, this key. Now there's a lot of shortcuts which I don't remember when I learned, so I'm gonna teach you the most of the longer ways. But we have the arrow keys, this. And then you can click these, and if you click G, you can drag it around. And if you want to drag it around in somewhere specific, you click G, and then over here you see this wheel. If you click Y, it'll move in the Y axis, X axis, Z axis. Now if you want to click something to go back, you can click Control Z, or you can't. I know you can, but this doesn't work for everything. But if you are like say grabbing this and right click, it'll bring it back, and this works for just about anything. The only thing it doesn't work is for extruding, which we'll get onto later in the episode. And so this, and so we're gonna delete this and go and look at the rest of them. We have rotate now. This will rotate it. If you click R, it'll also rotate it, whatever direction you want. And then again, you can click Z, X, and Y to change the way it gets rotated. And then we have scale. This scales it out, but this is not like some stuff that I've used. So when you scale it, it actually scales like this, not from the way here, but the whole object gets scaled. And S, you scale the whole object, or you can use Z, X, and Y. Then we have this. It's basically just all the tools in one tool. Now it is kind of good if you keep needing to switch to them, but it is kind of hard because if you misclick, you're gonna, like if I want to do this, but accidentally do this, then I have this now. Good thing we have Z and right click. But right click only works if you're still editing it, like this, right click. But if I do this, right click, it'll just bring up this menu. So now we're gonna go into, and then we have object mode, edit mode, sculpt mode, vertex paint, weight paint, texture paint. Those are a little advanced, but this is but you'll need edit mode. As you see, if you select something like this camera, there's only object mode or this light. So depending on what blocks you have, it also depends on what materials you have. So edit mode, then you have this. Edit mode can edit the stuff. So I'm gonna make like what should I make? I'm gonna make a cube donut. So we also have a lot more tools, which we'll get onto a little later. But we're gonna make a block like this, and then now we don't have a cube in the middle, so there's two ways we can do this. We can take this thing called knife tool and cut a hole through the middle. Now this would work, but there's also another way. So then you have this. Wait, my bad. Delete. Faces. So when you click delete, there's a couple of options. Vertices are these black dots. They're like edges. And edges are these black lines. So like if I put this up here, these black lines are like that. And then this is like you get what I mean probably. And now, as you can see, we can delete vertices, which does that. Sometimes you can ruin a lot of stuff. Then we can click like this, and this line now selected. We can delete edges, which also apparently can ruin stuff. And then we can delete faces, which is like, wait. So you've selected a face when you have 4 vertices surrounding like this, and this part becomes highlighted. You click this. Wait, no, not. You click delete button, and then you can delete the face. This wouldn't typically ruin stuff as much as other stuff, but you would not want to know what you're doing before deleting. So if you click N, you have this menu pop up. It's a lot smaller, but if you enter edit mode like this, quick note, the shortcut to get to edit mode is tab. Now you see it's much bigger. But if you wanna change it to look a lot more rounder, so we're gonna change this and add something like this UV sphere. you would see, so don't click anything after adding it. Then you see add UV sphere. Click this and you can change how many segments it has. So the higher segments you have, the better it look, but the more computer power it needs to process. So just take that in mind. And if you want to make something look real good, but don't want not so much segments and stuff, then you can let go that, right click, shade smooth. And now we have what looks like a ball. And so you can still see the edges around here, but not here. There's also shade auto smooth. It's when shade smooth doesn't work, this might also work. Shade flat turns it back to its original. Then auto smooth. It's basically not much of a difference. Then so there's this thing about Blender which is slightly annoying sometimes. So also you can change your camera to like this position by clicking on these. And so on Windows you can do like this to select, but for some reason on Blender, not always annoying, but sometimes, it doesn't select this part. So if we want to select the whole upper part, we're gonna click this button. That turns on X-ray, so you can see everything behind it. And now we're gonna delete this top part. Delete. Then if you want to delete faces, you can make it look. I said if you want to delete the faces, I'll basically just do that for some reason. But we want to delete the vertices. So now we have like this. And so now we want to add, so we're going to make a watermelon for a beginner for today. And we're going to want to click E, this extrude stuff. But if you click right click, it doesn't actually, wait, yeah, it doesn't actually delete the extrude. You have to actually manually, you have to delete the extrusion. So it may look like it's gone, but it's not. It really isn't. But for now, we're gonna click E, and now S, and then slightly bring it in. Now we have this rim. Now if we want it a little bigger, we can keep it like this. Now we're gonna click E, then G, then Z. Control Z. My bad, I don't know what I just did. Then we're gonna bring it slightly down. Then, now we're not gonna click extrude, but right click, new edge slash face and vertices. A shortcut is F, and this is how you would usually make a face. Now, since you're gonna make a slice of watermelon, we're gonna go to materials and new. Then we're gonna name this material base. The first material you make will automatically cover everything you have. And if you color but don't see it, don't get worried, it's because of your mode. As you can see here, there's a couple of modes. It's close to where you click X-ray. This mode makes it that you see the wireframes. X-ray automatically activates. You only see vertices, and faces are really transparent, but not fully. This one, it's all gray and black. It's for modeling. And then this one here lights up everything, but you can see colors too. Then this one is the closest you get to render. Because this one, it renders the lights too. So, well, it doesn't render, but the light is where the light comes from. The difference between these two is that this one, light is simulated everywhere. And this one, the light has to actually come from the light that is over here. Oh, and I don't think I said it yet, but if we exit edit mode, this add, there's a shortcut. It's Shift A, then you get to the add menu. But we either way want to make the inside green now. So we're going to click this plus button. So now we have more room for another material, new. And do you see this tab here? So This shows all materials that you've ever created. Even if it got deleted, it'll be here, like material. That's what this was originally called, but then we named it base and turned it green. So I can make this become material, and then I can make it become material number 1. But we're gonna name it inside. It's gonna be, and you want to usually keep your names not super like the detailed, so that if it's but you don't want to keep it not very detailed, because then it'll be hard. Because if you have like a massive project, it'll be hard to find out which color is which. But either way, now if we enter edit mode, you'll see there's nothing here. But if we exit edit mode, there's nothing here. But if we enter edit mode, then we have assign, select, and deselect. So if we select all these vertices, and to select more than one, you can either do this, or you can tap each one manually holding shift. If you hold shift, control, and alt, then it'll select a line of vertices. This doesn't always work the way you would want it to, so just like it didn't here, so we're gonna have to manually select all the vertices. Okay, now that we have all the vertices selected, you should see this part became more orange. And now we're gonna turn this part into a juicy red, like this. And now assign. You can instantly see it's now red. So we're gonna now make it, and this is roughness. If it's at 0, it's gonna be super shiny. Super shiny, as you can see here. The lighting we were in the proper lighting mode, so it wasn't too shiny. Here we have the background enabled, but you can't see it. You can see it's super shiny. If you put roughness at 1, you cannot see anything at all. Because our juicy insides are because our juicy insides are not too shiny, but a little shiny, we're gonna add, I'm gonna add 0.2. Here we go. Now, no, it looks a little too shiny. 0.28. So now it's 0.27. So now we're actually gonna also edit the base, aka the watermelon skin. We're gonna make it a little darker using this tab here, and we're gonna set the roughness to a high amount. 0.9 should be good. And now, to make it look a little more like a watermelon, we're gonna take this. We're gonna click this blue button -Z to make it easier to select. So now we actually can use Control Shift Alt to select this type of stuff. And now we can make it, we're gonna add another color. This one's gonna be lighter base. And now we're gonna make it green, but it's gonna be much lighter. And now we're gonna assign it. And then we're gonna assign that. Shift Control Alt. And so we're gonna do it for just about the whole thing, so that it looks striped and good. So now I'm done, and our rounds look good if you enter object mode, but The top looks a little weird, so we're gonna enter back into edit mode. This time we're gonna do loop cut and see if we can, and keep moving until you get a loop like this. Then you're gonna enter this mode and hold shift and equip all the inner ones, all the inner vertices. Make sure they're at top so that you don't equip the bottom ones, because we don't want the bottom ones. Okay, now we're gonna assign the lighter base so that it looks a little more like a watermelon inside. Now we're gonna add seeds. So we are gonna copy and paste them all around to make them look napped. But first, actually, before we add seeds, this watermelons are not like perfectly spear. They never are. So we're gonna make it have imbalances. So we now are gonna we're gonna now equip this, and when you select vertices and click G, there's this radius, and if you move it, everything in that radius, everything close to it in that radius gets moved too. It is pretty useful if you want to make deformations, but make sure to de-equip it when you're done, because like it can sometimes get annoying. So. And to change the size of the circle, use your scroller key. And if you don't see it at all, it's probably because it's super big. So scroll it down to see, and until you see it. And now, because watermelons are kind of like oval shapes, I'm gonna grab scale and rotate the whole thing in the Z axis. So that's like this. And now we have an imperfect watermelon, which is perfect for us. And we are now gonna add the seeds. So you want to add something new, mesh. So we're gonna get a circle. Now the circle is gonna have, we're gonna want the circle to have little vertices, not too much vertices, because they're gonna be small. So we don't need to see the vertices too much. Enter to edit mode and right click to get this face. Now we're gonna make it much smaller. Oh, don't forget to turn this off. Now we're gonna scale it so that it's like this. And we're gonna now we're gonna extrude it so it's at the top. And extrude it so that it's super tiny. And now, if I enter this mode, no, my bad, X-ray mode, Z, and you can move your camera like this, but as soon as you move it like this, that bar graph thingy is gone. And you can drag this guy around, I think. And so that you can like change your camera like this. Then I'm gonna, now that I have, and I'm gonna put like this. As I was saying, I'm gonna put it like this. And now check it, I have the back one activated and scale it slightly down. Now we're gonna make it all black, but shiny black. So I'm gonna keep it at 0.2, no, 1.15, 0.15. Now I'm gonna make it much smaller and put it in a spot where it can be seen and touching the ground. And now I'm gonna Control C and V it all around the watermelon. Okay, now my seeds don't look pretty, but it was like, it's just like that. So now Now we have our watermelon seeds. This is unnaturally flat, so we're gonna click. So now we're gonna enter edit mode, and we're gonna turn off X-ray. And now we're actually gonna do the inner circle. First, no, it doesn't work. Make sure to select all the bottom ones. Okay, so if you've selected all the ones at the bottom, you should see it to be more orangey. That means that you selected the face. And now, line cut. And we're gonna make it have a couple of cuts. Well, it doesn't seem like the line cut's right now working, so we're gonna enter this knife and make our own lines. Make sure to have it like a graph, so because we're gonna make it have like dimples. Oh yeah, and to stop the knife from moving like this, click Control. And once you're done knifing it, click Enter to make them vertices. If you don't click Enter to properly make them vertices, you'll keep just make more vertices over there. Enter, now they're all vertices. Now line cut should be working. Line cut. And we can now cut them in lines. Hold up. Oh well. And now we have lots of lines. So we're gonna now cut these and make it in some areas down and in some areas up. So let's do that. And if you want, you can use this tool to make it look a lot more natural. There you go. Now we're gonna shade smooth to see how it looks, and this looks perfect. So we've got all that, but what happens if we want to texture our melon? Well, and also what happens if we want to animate it? Well, then we're gonna do that, but it's gonna be in the next video because this video is super long. So see you later, Nibbana Blocks, and I'll be posting how to texture and animate and parent and other stuff in the next video. See you later.